Personal notes. General-Major Ilya Timofeyev, 73rd Guards Division, Basra. The sand. It gets everywhere. Our rifles jam. Oil turns into sludge that clogs everything up. Engines overheat from the sand and dust in the air filters, combined with the brutal heat. Men break down on the march from dehydration. Movement is, at times, restricted to night marches, as nobody can endure the temperatures during the day. Those were the conditions we found ourselves in when we marched through the desert, keeping the Euphrates to our left and following the railroad, which traversed the desolation like a wound from a giant saber cut. We had been stockpiling water for weeks before we launched, and still, when we reached the outskirts of Basra, we had barely enough left. We positioned our F-19 field guns in a line just outside and began sending out scouting parties. They soon came back with reports that the German 187th had packed up and left westwards for unknown reasons, which meant we'd have a window of opportunity where we'd only face Ottoman conscripts and local force draftees. Their morale generally was much lower than the Germans, but they knew as well as we did what was at stake. If Basra fell, the brothers in arms holding the lines between the rivers would be surrounded. They offered fierce resistance. Our artillery reduced the houses along the outskirts to rubble, which we had to take pile by pile in hand-to-hand combat until we broke through their lines and raised the Russian imperial flag, together with the Persian standard, above the town hall. If it hadn't been for the new hospital tents and the nurses who worked miracles, I'm not sure we could have done it. We're still facing counterattacks from the 87th Ottomans, but the Germans are now either beaten back and stuck in the desert, or cut off from supply in the north. No medals on the horizon, but the heroic deeds of single divisions and their commanders still need to be mentioned. And here we have the 73rd Guards, who together with the 70s and 74th have managed to take Basra in a very close attack. Now we just have to hold, and then we can slowly, we'll let the Germans starve in the north, and then we can slowly begin to clean up these encircled troops. Meanwhile, we have potential to assault another position in the east, but these troops also need to rest and build up their strength first. Syria is holding Aleppo at this point, so we could also work our way towards the north and begin expanding that again. But I'm not yet sure if we're going to push further along the coastline because of the simply of the scale, and it would draw too many divisions out into a very elongated front line, and we don't want to have to deal with the desert. That said, Jabal Shammar may actually, if we manage to take their capital, may actually be able to be defeated. The problem is capital is in the desert, and we don't want to go there. And they might retreat to Riyadh and continue resistance. So it's probably better just to create a stable front line. We might take one more supply hub here, maybe destroy a few Ottoman divisions, and then leave the rest to the Egyptians. Anyway, in the States, things are starting to look better. We are having the 3rd Mechanized pushing eastwards across the river, trying to close the cauldron and trap a fair amount of enemy troops. How much do we have here? Can we get a summary? 16, there would be 19 divisions if we can manage to trap them inside the lines. So I'd say that is a worthwhile attempt. Meanwhile, the 5th is clearing the road to Memphis and sees if we can launch another attack across the rivers there. We shall see. Anyway, that's that. In Sicily, we are under constant attack, so the divisions are just digging in and defending themselves. And that means we are probably going to keep an eye on both Basra and the situation here. Let me just quickly check that the front lines need to be changed, obviously. So we're going to delete that. And these 3 divisions are going to be working. Just going to hold Basra for now, and their goal is going to be to eliminate the cauldron in the north. We'll either wait until we get reinforcements from the Persians, or we'll have to push across the river north. But we'll see how that goes. We'll let the Germans starve first. For now, they're too well equipped for us to attempt to attack. So let's head to the States and see how things are going there. And if we can manage this push across the river line here against the relatively exhausted enemy divisions. Yeah, that's 3 of them at this point, however. This might be a little tricky, but we are getting the 4th in as well for a bit of additional firepower. So we'll give it a try and see if we can breach here. And otherwise we'll work on the Memphis front. Quick look over at Sicily. Okay, these troops need to right now just dig in and hold at this point. And just see what they can do. Even if ever an opportunity arises. But this is a brutal war that has been completely stalemated for the longest time. And I am fearful that if we leave, then the North might end up being successful here. But the Papal States have five combat effective divisions stationed in Anzio, not participating in any frontline work. So I think we can reasonably say that at some point the amount of work we are willing to put in is also limited. All right, we've got how's the naval situation going? Okay, we've got now. Let's review that quickly. We have now a full fleet of 4 battleships, 2 heavy cruisers, 3 light cruisers, and 26 destroyers, and positioned in the Baltic. That is 6. Yep, that works out. 6 capital ships, 29 screening ships. The bigger question is, these are all relatively old ships. The bigger question is, what are they capable of? And they're not actually bad. The Ismail class might be quite capable. What do we got in the Sevastopols? Yeah, they've got a decent amount of guns to them. We've got a few Sevastopols, 1 Ismail. We've got the Admiral Nakimov. That I think was one of the more modern cruisers that was completing, but she is a bit lacking in firepower, to be honest. And we have the Rossiya, that is the other heavy cruiser, which is not really any the better. And then in the light cruiser side, we've got the Ledovie Pokhod class. Let's see what these are capable of. There we go. That's a mine layer, basically, with very little combat effectiveness. And the Diana, which has it's not much better, really. And the Admiral Makarov, which also is a sort of odd design. And then on the destroyers, we've got a fair amount of different types of destroyers. So if we look at the okay, I need to close some of these because game doesn't let me open any more of them. Right. So we look at the Petrograd. There we go. And yeah, these are actually reasonably capable fleet destroyers. It's not too bad. Anyway, so we do have a navy. Is it great? Is it a grand navy? Not particularly. We're currently building a fair few more submarines for mine laying purposes. We could attempt, we do have a bit of naval experience, we could attempt to see if we can maybe get a more capable light cruiser completed. So let's see, but we haven't kept up with naval research at all. So a lot of this is out of date. But we do have the improved cruiser hull, at least. So that is something. We could try to see what we can get designed here. So let's have a quick look. If we're starting with, what do we have in light cruisers? And give me the outdated as well. This is all Weltkrieg class. Okay, we don't actually have a light cruiser design on the improved hull, so we're going to have to start from scratch. None of these is going to give us an awful lot here. So we have a cruiser destroyer designer, which is probably what we want. But not going to do an awful lot. We're going to put some cruiser armor on it. And they don't have to have an awful lot of range because we're mostly going to be fighting in the Baltics. So I'm really more interested in seeing what we can fit in there in in terms of guns. So 150 millimeter cannons is what we're going for with here. So that's one forward, one aft, and there we go. That's a light attack of 15. Can we fit? What are we at on speed? 33 knots. Not too bad. We do have to, I don't think we have anything in, yeah, we have no radar. We have only the most basic fire control. We do have some AA capability, and we can put some 120 millimeter rapid firing secondaries on that. We're still at 32 knots, which is good. So that means we can probably still fit more guns on these. So we've got 3 turrets forward, 1 aft. With 30 knots, that for a fleet cruiser, given the battleships are going to be slow anyway, that would be a almost 30 knot light cruiser, and we would be using what would we be using? I think admirals probably. So we might call these the Admiral Ushakov class. So let's be Admiral Ushakov. There we go. 50 Navy XP. This is a very expensive design. The question is, how quickly can we get this built? But this would give us, so if we compare that to what we have, not particularly these. This would be a relatively capable addition to the fleet. Alternatively, we can just build a few more destroyers, to be honest, and instead of a single big one. So let's keep that in mind, and I'll have a quick look, because we have very limited production capabilities. So we could shift. We have a good number of convoys at this point, so we could shift the production into destroyers as well, and see if we can finish a few, because I'm not sure this is going to finish. This is going to finish before war even breaks out. So, we're not going to dedicate research capabilities into the Navy at this point. So a gunboat destroyer would be an alternative. I'll have a quick look if it makes sense. Otherwise, we'll roll with this one. Now we'll give it a try. We'll see if we can get a single one of the Admiral Ushakov class out and constructed. So. That would bolster the light firepower of the Baltic fleet by a decent amount. So let's get that scheduled up, and we will. I think we can cancel that line. We'll finish. Where are we? June. This is May 1941. Yeah. We'll finish the. The submarines, and then we'll see if we can build a few more of these. But that's about as far as we're going to go. And actually, I do have to make sure that these are coming out where I want them to be, which is in Petrograd. So let's make sure they're built on the right shipyards. All right, so dockyards underway, and we will see what we can do navally, but it's not going to be a major focus. All right, counterattacks from the south against our lines here, from all sides really. Interestingly enough, the Egyptians are holding in the desert, although we have incursions in the north that we might have to deal with and push back the northern front is beginning to fracture. I think we'll have to redeploy north, leave it as is here. So with that, we have a relatively defensible position here, I'd say. It is extremely hot. So what we'll do is we'll redeploy north and see if we can manage to create a more defensible line by pushing north towards Deir ez-Zor, Antep in the north, secure Aleppo, and push back the Ottoman forces there quite a bit, because we are getting a little pushed. We're getting a little pushback here, and they're starting to threaten Damascus again. All right, the 2 divisions are still holding. The 73rd has been completely exhausted and is currently being pushed back east. but the enemy is now very much running low on supply. So we'll let them run out of supply for now, and we'll just hold Basra against any potential further counterattacks. We can still take the port in Kuwait, but we'll let the divisions rest first before we push any further. I think that's probably the last. Yeah, that's the last supply position here. We could try to take Kuwait if we send the 70th to pin the enemy westwards, and then try to hold Kuwait. But I'd rather reduce the enemy positions in the north first. So we'll hold on with Basra. We can take Kuwait of them later on if necessary. Okay. States, how is it looking? Tank divisions are pushing east against. We're still waiting for the 4th to engage. We should be able to look at the amount of firepower that we're having at this point. Quite impressive. So we're pushing east here, so we'll try to make something happen there. They have retaken Indianapolis, and we're holding the line here quite successfully now at this point. It looks like fighting has come to a bit of a standstill, which is great because I don't want them to start overextending. And they are also rolling up the positions in the north here with infantry, which is very good. So we don't need to deal with that. Kansas City has held, and lots of enemy troops stationed around Little Rock. So we'll see if we can manage to cut them off. Sicily, we're just digging in here at this point and waiting for the lines to change. So with that, we can return to probably the States at this point, yeah, and see how the assault eastwards along the river lines, across the river, is coming out. And the big question is going to be, can we make the push? So we don't have the modern tanks, or the more successful tanks, obviously, yet, but we have managed to potentially secure Memphis if we can. We are getting infantry reinforcements, so let's see if we can manage, after we've pushed back the 15th Continental, if we can take Memphis under their noses, while the rest of the tanks is trying to break out through north, because we are getting infantry backfilling the positions here. All right, synthetic chemistry is completed. That is important. The latest years have seen the creation of the world's first synthetic rubbers, and various Russian rubber companies are beginning to capitalize on this. This should hopefully help us reduce our reliance on imported rubber. Yes, so we get 3 synthetic refineries out of this, and I think there was a research bonus in there as well, was there? Or is this just one that we already had anyway? Yeah, so that means we should now have improved, we are starting to have some rubber production, which is great. We do need to build more of those though, so I'm going to start slotting. I'm also tempted to throw a fuel silo in here as well still. So let's head over to Russia for a while. Let's see if we can build, where do we have semi-decent infrastructure? This works. So we put up a fuel silo, and maybe 2 synthetic refineries up there. Let's prioritize these actually, that we can get these done, just so we can bunker a bit more fuel for the war. So let's get that constructed. And we are starting to see the military factories building out as well. So artillery production obviously important, and everything else as well. But we still need a lot more military factories to get the lines really humming. How are we on? We've got 121 flame tanks, so I'm kind of tempted to see how many tanks that would require. Let's have a look. That would 45. Yeah, we could actually start doing that. So this would be, obviously currently these guards divisions are operating in the desert, and I'm not sending the flame tanks into the desert. But that would add some armor to these divisions. And sorry, that's the tank division, the wrong one. I was looking at the guards division. There we go. Oh, this one's actually built out. So we could replace the motorized recon with the flame tanks. So that would be slightly reducing a soft attack, but generally add generally add some armor. 17 armor, however, is not going to be an awful lot against regular infantry. The bigger benefits generally come from attacks into, and yeah, for the attack bonuses really that are coming in. But we're currently having the guards in the desert. We can send these in and give them a field test and see how well these are going to work, and especially if the amount of armor that we're getting is justifying this against in these conditions that might actually work out reasonably well. So let's do that. We'll start delivering the first flame tanks for field testing. Anyway, that's done. What do we have to do next? There are a few options here, and we could reduce the production cost. That would actually be quite. But guarantor of stability, minus 5% political power, ouch. About 5% division org and 5% consumer goods factory, yuck. High command cost, minus 33% is huge, however. And we're gaining, but that's the additional military budget is temporary. So, no, I'm not a fan of that. I think I would love the command cost, but 5% consumer goods factories, 5% political power gain reduction. Nah, that's too much. We have the democratic curriculum, which still needs to be happening. Because we do want to get down to the judicial reform eventually, because that gets us political power gain. We do have strengthening democracy at this point, I believe. Strengthening democracy. So that's 40 to 82 days, and then eventually here, that would be more political power gain and stability. It's useful, but I am tempted to look elsewhere first and see what we can do. Security services, can we could get a free operative slot out of that. That would actually be quite useful. And here we've got, we were just making a few more, we got a doctrine cost reduction. That would be also pretty good. This is a year, general staff reform. After that, we get plus 10% max planning. We're not going for a full-on planning. It'd be useful, but this gives us tank destroyers and some chassis at plus 20% attack against force. So that is quite specific as well. We've got War of Motors. That's a free military factory. Plus 5%. And this is all good, but I'm thinking we may actually see if we can do something about the air, because that is really something that we're short of. But we've got a few things here as well that are potentially useful. We could set the mission to Tehran. That's a fast one for 40 political power. And that would increase the volunteer limit, but alternatively, we could also do a few things over here. This would allow us to invite Afghanistan into the fold. This would be just power projection. This is always interesting to me. This is political power gain, production efficiency cap, and economic decisions. Alternatively, that's another volunteer limit, really. Or we could get research bonus in computing technology, which is something we could use as well. I think it's all useful. Difficult decisions. A Navy, I think at this point, not really going to do an awful lot with. But I'm sort of tempted to go for the Moscow Economic Council. It's a 35-day one. Or do one of the quick ones here. To get Afghanistan with us lined up as well, potentially. Or do the mission to Tehran, because 40 political power is great. We get power projection, and we can invite, given that we're already assisting the Persians, we could invite. Yeah, we'll do that. Complex relationship has developed between us and the Persian state. Sometimes friends, sometimes enemies. We have not once again, any parallels to current events are purely coincidental. We have not established formal diplomatic policy for our diplomats in the country, much to their annoyance. A closer relationship could certainly be formed in some way. However, the Iranian state is in a lot of turmoil, and whoever rises to the top might have a less than favorable view of us. A policy must be decided upon, and preferably soon. We'll do that. 21 days, and we might be able to invite the Persians after we have significantly assisted them. And it is a border state, so securing the southern flank here into Central Asia is not a bad thing. But if we can get the Ottomans ground down, then that's also worth the effort. Okay, we have to act here because it looks like they might be able to break out. So let's begin. Let's begin the assault from the south and see if we can manage to get across the bridge here. They are low on supply, but yeah, the Germans, we can't let the Germans break out. We do have another division coming back in, so that should help. But hopefully, at least we have to hold them in place until the Persian divisions arrive and can assist as well. They are not quite as out of supply as I was hoping for. My gosh, they have a lot of firepower. So that is, yeah, these guys are going to be difficult to deal with. Situation in China is actually going worse. So I think we have an opportunity here to change our front lines and see if we can manage to potentially cut off and destroy some divisions. If we can retake the fortified positions in the north there, so we'll move our troops over. In the States, we have taken Memphis, but we have to be careful now not to be cut off anywhere. And the fifth is also completely exhausted. We're still pushing across in the north. They're sending in reinforcements, but it's all just red guards. So I think we should be able to deal with them without too much trouble. And we are this close to collapsing the cauldron here. I do have to be a bit careful that we're not getting cut off anywhere. But these all should be now starting to run into supply issues because they're still holding a supply up here, but nothing's connected. We've taken Memphis off them. And we can join we're one province away from joining forces with the Union troops, who have been gradually pushing north. And I think once we collapse this, things are going to go very, very badly, very quickly. So it goes down slowly and then all at once, basically. We have a few things still to do, and we have to decide on the Spirit of Army Command. Right now we've got Professional Officer Corps for experience gain. I am okay with that. I'm almost thinking of the Spirit of Suvorov actually at some point. And this is entrenchment speed, this is planning speed, and this would be cavalry units, which might include fast tank, but we're not really dealing with. Overwhelming firepower is kind of nice as well because it makes it cheaper to design units. But the command power increase is quite good, and the division experience gain as well. So I think I'm going to stay on professional officers, which leaves us to the last one. Well, my standard go-to is static warfare combined with the Grand Battle Plan doctrine, but we are going down the overwhelming firepower instead. So at this point, we're going down this way, which means we are, and we do have to do the special forces. I am aware of that. We do have the mountain rifles. This might actually be one we can take already. Let's take that now, just so I don't forget, because we do have a 50% bonus here. So let's unlock that. And then we have to decide. So generally, static warfare works really well with Grand Battle Plan. The other alternative, there's a special one here, 5% breakthrough and suppressive barrage tactic. I haven't really messed a lot with an awful lot with the suppressive barrages. This is mass charge, not really what we want to do. This would be training time, don't really need it. Recon and intel, nice, but so I'd say it's either lessons from Brusilov or flexible org, really. Orglos while moving be great, plus 5% speed, or 5% breakthrough and the suppressive barrage. None of them is massively important right now, so I'm gonna leave that as is. And yeah, we do not wish to take a repeat of the previous war if we can avoid it. All right, Sicily, we are still, yeah, we're still sort of the tip of the spear here and just trying to dig in and defend wherever possible. Egypt, we are now moving north, and we're going to let the friendly troops hold the lines there because we are needed. Persia, we are just going to hold them in place, and in the States, okay, now we're back. In the States, we are going to still try to take the bridges eastwards, but we're still waiting for the 4th to actually get itself organized and join the fight here. The 5th is recovering. We've got friendly cavalry following in, but for now the 5th is going to keep holding Memphis, which means we can now look back at the Persians, where we are getting counterattacked from all sides, basically, and we're still waiting for the... we're still trying to hold the Germans in place here, but we should have an option to, or we should have a possibility of holding them, of holding the enemy here. But I think the divisions are now getting completely exhausted, so we're going to abort that. Unfortunately, that means the 39th Ottoman might be able to cross the Euphrates unless the friendly divisions come over. But yes, they have, unfortunately. So now we have to just hold Basra and see that we can get them pushed back. But they're still not going to get any supply that way. So for now, we'll dig in here, which means we're going back to the States, where we have regained our organization on the 5th, and the 4th is still not joining. So I think I'm going to abort the attack at this point. Let them vacate and let these divisions rest a bit, because we do have an option with the 5th to push east now from Memphis, and we'll see if we can take that. No, that's a regular division, and we are struggling to break these guys. All right, so we're going to have to wait here. But we do have to change the front lines, however, to make sure that we are staying within the territory that we want to stay. So you please stay here. Okay, front lines consolidated. Quick look across before we get back into it, so that we're not missing anything. Troops in Egypt. All right, yes, these front lines also need to be reorganized, obviously, because we do not want to move out from here. We want to stay where we are. And we'll send the 73rd to clear out the Ottomans here, while the rest of the troops is holding the line. Okay, yeah, we'll just hold the lines for now. We are getting friendly, so we're getting friendly fire support. So I think we need to let these recover first. All right. Back to the States, where no, it keeps doing this, and I don't know why. Okay, that means we are going to have to do this by hand, which means we're going to send the 3rd to hold Memphis. All right, that should hopefully prevent this nonsense, and we might actually get everything concentrated in Memphis, to be fair. So let's get them all concentrated in Memphis. No, go drive around the other side, please. And then we'll try to break through from there and connect with the enemy positions. Since we have the sort of bridgehead held in Memphis, we get infantry support, and we do need the tank divisions across the river in order to conduct effective operations. Now, where are we going to attack is the next question. We've got a few Red Guard divisions in the north that might be an easier nut to crack than the 4th regulars here. So let's send the 5th north in support and see if we can crack through there. Once the third has recovered a bit, we'll send them to join in, and we're going to get the fourth to help out as well. All right, quick look around, just making sure we're not getting cut off anywhere. China, are we in place now? We are in place now. The problem is we're probably not going to be breaking this very easily. So we'll give it a try. Let's see if this is a fight we can take. Are they moving out? I think they might be moving out. The cavalry divisions, it looks like it's moving out. But who knows for how long that's going to take. This is unfortunately fortified territory, so I think we are going to struggle. But we'll see if the Japanese cavalry moves out. Tanks moving into Memphis, and Persia. Okay, Persia has held. We'll just dig in here for now and let these divisions recover. Divisions here are on the march north, where we are going to see if we can cut off these 3 Ottoman divisions. That's a good opportunity, and defeat that. So we'll wait and see if the Japanese cavalry division there moves out before we... Yes, it has moved out. Let's see if we can launch an assault. But yeah, that is... Oh my gosh. That is a very experienced Fengtian division at this point. I don't think we'll be breaking that anymore. No, we're not breaking that anytime soon. So unless these divisions vacate the spot, we're not breaking through there. It's been a grinding war and a half here, but now we have the tanks ready to push out from Memphis, and I think we're going to get all 3 tank divisions engaged, because we do have an infantry division here as well. And see that we link up with Nashville and then start pushing south, because they are starting to get exhausted. All right, China, they're not moving. States, we are moving. Here we're just trying to hold, although it's becoming actually increasingly difficult to hold against the constant counterattacks. So this is becoming more and more of an almost untenable position. Simply because we do have the reserves here, however, but I might have to pull the mountain divisions back from the front lines, and because they're getting absolutely hammered here. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, we are ready for an assault, and I think I'm not sure if they've broken through somewhere. Where are they going from here? Anyway, we'll launch an attack east. And we should be able to break that relatively easily, and then we can try to encircle these 3 Ottoman divisions. Unless they shouldn't be able to get out here, because that's impassable terrain. So that's happening. Persia, instant counterattacks, and we do need the. We're gonna see if we can let the. We can let the Persians clean this up a bit while we're just holding here. China, no chance of breaking this, and no chance of pushing these back either. So this is just a territory that is a brutal war there. Okay, tanks have almost reached link up with Nashville. Once we have that, I can delete this again and get them all on the front lines. Once we have that, then we can start cleaning up the encircled divisions here, which is going to be probably decisive. All right, decisions available. We could raise the tariff wall. That would end the German influence, but it's costing us 2% base stability. Now the question is, do we want to do any of the other? We could get 2 dockyards out of this, which is not bad. We could, that's 50 political power, but that's expensive in terms of consumer good factories. I don't really care too much about the industrial concern. And this is just a free one, but we would have to spend 50 political power. Given how scarce political power is and how we are running low on time, I'm tempted to just do this. But 2% base stability, do I want that? We might just take the dockyards, honestly. 2 dockyards. Let's see. We'll wait. We'll save up to 50. So we'll not do this for now. And yes, we have the possibility to organize these here, but I'm going to disable them all for now because I want to ensure that we have. I want to ensure that we do the German capital first. Deccan Federation has declared war on the Dominion of India. So this is, let's see, Deccan Federation has not joined a pact, so they're basically declaring war on the Entente at this point. That may be a bit ambitious. So let's see how that's going to end up. They have, from what we know, somewhere probably around 30 divisions. They definitely have the military advantage, I'd say. But we will see how that ends up turning out. All right, China. We're in a bad spot here. It's really not an awful lot we can do. We'd need massive air power to solve this. And here we are making advances. Here we're holding, and here we will have to keep an eye on things. But I think we are going to be able to encircle and destroy 3 Ottoman divisions here, while we are just holding in the south. Why do these have supply? They should not be having supply at all, because they are completely cut off in Basra. Basra is still supplied along the rivers. So the Germans have attrition. Yeah, supply status 21%. So that will just hold that, and here we'll break through, which means here we have now finally shaken hands with Union troops. We've linked up west of Nashville, and we are now going to immediately begin reducing the enemy divisions, because they should have, I'm not sure how much supply they will have left. We'll see how well they're working. Yeah, they're starting to be really to run low on supply. So we'll begin our drive to collapse the remaining divisions here, and that will be overall 26 divisions, a field army encircled. So that should completely break the back of these syndicates. I wish we could do something about China, but I don't see us getting anywhere against these fortified lines here. That's just China is just a slaughterhouse, honestly. So instead, we'll focus on where we can make a difference, which is in the Middle East. Unfortunately, the Ottomans, as soon as we left, have started pushing back north again, because of course they have. So this again shows the importance of reducing enemy positions instead of trying to, and we'll try that here. Instead of, they are actually running low on supply. Good. Instead of taking territory, and that's exactly what's happening, because these divisions are getting reduced here and are getting pushed back. So if we can manage, I might leave one division behind and just get them to assist. Well, one division to hold Basra. We're now instantly under pressure here, but we have from counterattacks. But we have 3 enemy divisions encircled. Unfortunately, they don't get the encirclement debuff as usual. This is bugged again. We're making progress. All right, China static unless they move out from this position. There's nothing we can do here. So we'll stop looking at China, and we are going to focus on the great push south. So let's see if we can. Okay, something is broken here with the front lines. On this, because that's actually Union front lines. Yeah, we don't want those. All right, so the goal here is to reduce and destroy the remaining syndicalist positions, and for which purpose we are immediately going to move in and do so. Sicily, I think we're not getting any reprieve here, but we're just holding the lines. We'll see. We'll stay in the position and hold the lines as much as we can. Now we've got 3 divisions engaged, but we need to get the other ones to join. We might have to work our way around south again and try to destroy some enemy positions here, because holding this is becoming increasingly difficult. But the 4 divisions encircled here are looking to be pushed back quite significantly. We've got unassigned divisions. They can join that army and train. In the States, okay, we do need to keep moving here, please, people, and take territory for the Pacific states as much as we can. So we're probably going to get one tank division sent down here. We're going to get the other sent here, and the other one we'll see. So, okay. But please, can we launch the attack? All right. Attacks ongoing, and things happen at home. The Patriotic Information Office. As a private project, a number of right-wing businessmen have funded the so-called Patriotic Information Office. I believe, it's neither an office, it doesn't spread information, and patriotism is maybe questionable. Anyway, well, let's see what it is. With Ivan Alexandrovich Ilyin choosing as its head. Immediately, the office started to publish papers, leaflets, and even radio broadcasts featuring Russian conservative writers. It's a propaganda machine. Ilyin himself explained that the goal of the office is to counter the agitation and lies that are being spread about the emperor and the intents of the imperial government. In a widely circulated leaflet, Ilyin debunks multiple claims commonly made about the monarchists, such as that they would be seeking the restoration of landed nobility, and that they seek to abolish democracy. No, quite the opposite. We have reinstated unlanded nobility, and we are very much in favor of democracy. Quite the contrary, Ilyin persuasively argues in eloquent language. In his pamphlets, he has argued for various benefits of the monarchy, including the often repeated claim that if Russia had been a monarchy in 1934, Savinkov could not have risen to power. Well, history is history, but we're getting to a stable democratic system now. In later publications by Ilyin, the idea of the coming war has also been raised. There are stories of terrible oppression in the Ukrainians at the hand of German occupiers, and the total destruction of humanity in the totalitarian abysses of France and Britain. While Savinkov wanted war for his own glory, Nikolai Nekrasov's cabinet and Baron Pyotr Wrangel do not want war. They merely recognize it as an inevitable fact and see it as their duty to prepare, as all Russian people should. We can actually use this. Now, this is going to give a bit of an authoritarian slant, which is fine because it balances the powers a bit. But we can use this because, we could get him to tone it down. I think we can use this because it would it goes in line with the propaganda that we're having to run anyway. See, the problem for democratic countries is that if you have a war goal, you cannot just go and say they have things that I want. And henceforth we shall attack and take it from them. Instead, we obviously have to have a humanitarian war, which means talking about terrible oppression at the hand of German occupiers, total destruction. France and Britain are currently, well, they're not allies, but they're certainly useful at this point. But liberating Ukrainians from the German occupation would be, I think, is exactly what we're planning to do or what we're planning to use as a reason, as a casus belli for starting the war anyway. So it would actually probably, from a technical perspective, be better not to reduce the impact of the cadets, because we are getting political power from the party popularity, but it's not a massive impact, and it just fits too well. So true words indeed. Now this has changed the balance of power a little bit, which is a good thing, because we also don't want one party to be too dominant, because there needs to be a representation for everybody who has different ideas. All right. China situation, unwinnable at this point. US, we are clearing up. Sicily still holding. And here we are making our moves. Okay, so we work on the new goal of just reducing, and again, they're not getting the encirclement debuff, which is not nice. And we are actually running low on supply here as well. But okay, why is no? These troops have okay, they have motorization. I thought they didn't for a second there. Yeah, everybody does. Okay, so here we are. The last remnants of the holdout here are making their way through. We have finished maintenance company. That was just a prep for a potential heavy tank division. But I think right now we're going to go down the next level field hospital for starters and clean that up. So let's get that researched. And I get actually a good choice here of what I can use. I can use the mechanized equipment for that as well, because we're just using this for support equipment, which is not that important. So let's do that instead, because I think we are using that. I hope we are using that for trucks. Yes, we are. Okay, so that's good. And we get the trait for the IMZ, which is what we are using for, I believe, support equipment. So we're just literally going production efficiency gain is good. Yeah, I was just going to complete these and then see what we can unlock there. So let's just do that. Make support equipment more effective again. And here we are. Here we are clearing things out, and potentially here as well, which means we have to check what the states are doing. States are fine. Sorry, following multiple. Okay, now we have them. Following multiple theaters is a tough job, but we have, and I think these guys will be overrun if I'm not mistaken. We have just destroyed or captured or killed a fair amount of enemy troops, which means we can then decide what we're going to be doing next. These two should be overrun because I don't think they can get out of there. We could take Kuwait and just secure the port here south of Basra, and I think that's probably what we're going to be doing. So instead of going there, you'll return to Basra. We'll give you the front line to take Kuwait. And the divisions over here are still working on destroying the encircled enemies. And then we'll probably have to swing south again and have yet another attempt at reining in Ottoman advances. Because we're firefighting on every front line here, including the Chinese, where we're not, because nothing to be done. All right. For now, the tanks are making progress. And I think the encircled divisions here are getting massively weakened. They're out of food, they are out of supply, they're out of ammunition, and these feeble counterattacks are going to be beaten back by experienced armored divisions without too much trouble. Did I actually? Yeah, I did change these to the new template. Have they gotten their reinforcements? They're still waiting for some. Most of them they have, so they're still waiting for a few of them. How's the construction coming along? Two synthetic refineries ongoing, and the rest is just military factories. We are going to need more than that in terms of military factories, however. But we'll get through that construction lot first to get the production up and running. Okay, so Italy still under constant attack, and that leaves us simply with the Persians. All right, so we'll keep an eye on things here, where we are currently being counterattacked from the desert. But good that we left the 73rd back there. But once we've defeated that counterattack, then we'll march on Kuwait. We are running very low on supply here, unfortunately, due to the fact that another one's been joining us, but we're reducing that without too much trouble. And that means here we are making further breakthroughs. So let's see if we can get the tanks to clear out the last remnants. These are all the fourth regulars over here. These would be interesting to defeat. So without their supply, that would be interesting. Anyway, mission to Tehran has been completed, which has given us a fair amount of political power, which means we can now start the final stranglehold of the German capital decision. And that means we're not doing this one. This one is pricey. It gives political power, but it's expensive. in terms of construction. So I think we might actually just take the dockyards. Yeah, we'll spend the 50 and take the 2 dockyards. All right, go on. Which then now leaves us here with an option to go further down. Now, we do have the War of Motors here. That's 2 free military factories. And that I think that might be unlocking a few quite interesting things, because that's research bonuses, free military factories, improved logistics. That was not too interesting. This would this is armor. This would be improved recon. Anything really important? Army experience again, division training time, experience, soldier loss. Ooh, that would be quite good as well. But we do need, for that, we actually need to go through the permanent unified command. Eek. Should we do this before the war, so we can actually make our way down through here? So, yeah, interesting things, but we have a few other things to do here as well. Specifically, Afghanistan is something I've been thinking about. That would be just strategically quite interesting, because right now we have the Entente, and potentially we've got the Entente messing about here. So if we get Afghanistan on our side, that would be into the Moscow Accord. That would be a further securing of the southern border against potential spillover from any kind of resulting war over here. All right, that said, we've got other things that also need to happen. This is just messing with the exports. We can't do that because that's on the left path. So I think we're mostly. Is there anything really important down here? State orthodoxy. This is still. This is, in my opinion, still too expensive for what it's giving. And this is Franco-Russian treaty we could do. I think we're going to go down with the Economic Council now. Yeah, let's do that. That's the other one I had my eye on, so let's do that. I think we're mostly through the more important ones at this stage. All right, let's take Kuwait and deprive them of supply. Here we are working on clearing out the last enemy position before we have to move south, which means we are now free to keep an eye on our armored divisions and see what they're up to. South Africa and Canada have ended their hostilities. I wasn't even aware they were still at war. So Republic of South Africa is not in any faction, so we'll ignore that for now and focus on the war here, where I think we are. Yeah, we're about to clear out large enemy positions. Rhodesia has capitulated, and I think once we've defeated where we counterattacked from, we can try to push across the river, but I think it's not actually worth it. We might actually just go north instead. Get these 2 divisions on that, and just move north instead of trying to force a river position, and then assist with clearing that out. I think the 4th can deal with these by themselves. No change on the ground in China. No opportunity of. They've broken the entrenchment. Oh, they're going on the attack. That might be an opportunity. Let's see. Can we? we might be able to, because they've broken their entrenchment to go on. They've gone out of their trenches to go on the attack. So we have an opportunity here to counterattack. States, you have to delete that line here. So that's underway, and Sicily, we're still hanging on by a thread here, but we're just, I think we're not taking massive losses here though. Yeah, the losses are very minor, and the enemy losses are quite significant. So I think we'll maintain that position as we are. We've cleared positions here. However, they're definitely threatening again. Oh yeah, and they've already broken through in the south. Okay, firefighting mode activated. Let's bring the 3 divisions south to clear out the mess that the Egyptians have made again, and see if we can push them back towards Tabuk this time. Although, yeah, it exposes the flank as well. So let's get the troops moving. Assault on Kuwait in a sandstorm is going well, and that should, I think, deprive them. They do have supply from Ha'il here, but that should deprive them mostly. And then we can see where we can launch the next attacks, really. Probably, it seems like I can't even see anything in this sandstorm. Probably moving north, and then try to link up in the north and secure the lines there. And then that's that. All right, so China is now suddenly of interest. And towards this time next year, we're going to have to start pulling back our volunteers. But we will see if we can manage, given that they have made the fateful decision to abandon their positions, if we can manage to break their lines here. And that would be a major tactical victory and would encircle a vast number of enemy divisions. That said, they're trying to reinforce from the south, so we do need to. The 65th is currently not engaged, so the 65th can pin the divisions, can pin the enemy troops in the south, and we can pursue the further assault in the north, trying to break these enemy divisions and their attack. We will see if the 65th can manage to hold that. Meanwhile, tanks have arrived in the north and are launching the assault against massed enemy troops, but that should work out. It's a large number, but we do need to collapse the cauldron as quickly as possible, such that we can then focus on the other front lines. All right, Chinese volunteers will. I'm not sure why the Japanese division there is still active. Okay, we've got the heavy MG researched, which we're just waiting for survivability studies. Not too concerned about cannons at this point, which means we are actually up to date with air research, I think. We can launch the next engineering, or do we have something? We do have a research bonus for an additional rubber, so we may as well do that. Because that's going to be needed as well. All right, survivability studies. Once that's done, we'll look into a new fighter model. All right, states. We should have now. Yes, now they're finally encircled. Oh, they are. They are, and for some reason, it's only 10%. They're definitely. They are the 3 divisions. That's definitely going to be harder than expected to break them. 4 divisions actually. But we can always pull some tanks back if we need them. China, we've exhausted the 65th, so our attempt at breaking the position in the north is proceeding, but they're now reinforcing. That said, despite the fact that they're sending troops to reinforce, these are relatively weak troops, and they haven't had time to successfully dig in. So I think we may be able to pull this off and finally break this position. But good news, the Persians have accepted. Persian-Russian relations suffered during the past years as the magnificent city of Ashgabat remained a point of contention. This largely Russian city in the middle of the Turkmen countryside is the endpoint of the Trans-Caspian Railway, and ended up in Persian control in 1929 as Kievan warlord Junaid Khan took over the Transcarpathian Oblast in the chaotic aftermath of the New Year's coup in Moscow. All right, it is once again. So the Ashgabat becomes part of the Russian Empire, and we have a non-aggression pact with Persia, and that means we can potentially. I am not sure if we can actually I don't think we can manually invite them to factions, but we may have an actual option somewhere. We now have the option of sending them aid, which is just giving them an event, but nothing else. So I'm going to save up my political power here. But we can invite Persia, but for that, okay, so for that we have to complete aid to Iran. All right. Okay, so we can invite them only if we're completing the aid to Iran. So we do have to do this and send them support, and then either Egypt has to be victorious, or the we have to be at war with the Ottoman Empire. But it is an interesting foreign policy focus. So yes, we are unfortunately going to spend. We're already running the Nevsky shipbuilding cartel, so we're going to get that done. So we have potentially the option to invite Persia to the Moscow Accord and secure our foothold in the Islamic world. Troops here are moving to the lines. Let's see if we can rescue these two divisions here, and we have taken Kuwait, which means we should. These troops they still have supply, but that is really none of our concern anymore. I think we are done in the desert for now, and I am much more interested in pushing north and see if we can line up. But that will be a question of Baghdad's supply hub. Mosul is an interesting question. If we can take Mosul, that would be. There's no supply here along the lines, so we're probably going to be focusing our troops along the lines here, with the goal of taking Mosul. No, just give me a front line, please. There we go. The goal of taking Mosul. Yeah, we'll edit that out, or not. Troops here moving into place. But the big question is, can we break the Chinese position? So that attack here is where everything is. Can they get the reserves in, or can we manage to break these weakened divisions? Mexico attacking now Nicaragua, as they are wont to be, but okay, they're sending massive reinforcements. So now the big question comes: can we manage to break through? There's one division left. Okay, two divisions. Well, they have reinforced, but we'll press the attack. They are all weakened from the assault in the south. We're pressing the attack, and we'll see if we can manage to break them out. Even though the reinforcements from the south have been brought to bear, we may be able to break them out. We have the 65th that is currently resting. That had tried to pin them in place unsuccessfully. That might be able to we might be able to send them as reinforcements in, but they've unfortunately reinforced the position quite significantly. Mitteleuropa trade sanctions are over. Good. So that's gone. And we're almost done with the German economic influence. Here we are clearing out the last encircled. Yeah, that's these are some powerful divisions there. However, the 4th Mechanized, I think, is going to at some point have to recover a bit. But then we'll continue to push. We'll continue to push on the other side, where completely weakened and exhausted divisions are trying to cross the river lines. They are trying to break out here in the south, however, so we do have to be a little careful. But I think we'll finish these two divisions up here. Can we break the lines before? Can we break the lines before they manage to? No, it's that Feng Tian division is too powerful, unfortunately. All right, we'll give them a minute, but we don't want them to let them re-entrench. So let's launch another attack. Yeah, no, there's no way of breaking this. Okay, we'll abandon this for now. We'll see if there's another opportunity. It was close, but we just didn't have enough divisions and enough firepower to make this happen. In the States, we'll leave the final New York Reds to we'll leave that to friendly forces, and we are now going to redeploy there to push through. We'll bring the tanks over, and from there we will begin reducing the enemy cauldron. And you move there. No, not through the enemy territory. There we go. All right, we'll bring the tanks over. They can finish off the last of the New York Reds. We'll leave that to the friendly troops. And with that, I'd say the American Civil War is all but decided. There are still massive amounts of enemy troops that will have to surrender. But that should do that. The position in Sicily is, well, brutal. It's an absolutely brutal war with little. And yeah, since the Papal States have decided not to actually commit their forces, and are just happy to sit around in Rome and Anzio while we're doing the fighting on the east, we'll see how that continues. Troops have arrived at the border, and we're going to launch an immediate attempt at rescuing friendly divisions who have been cut off in the south here, and see if we can reestablish supply lines. And in the Guards divisions east are moving towards Baghdad for the next mission towards Mosul. And as that, the world is still definitely starting to get divided up into sections. East Asia is going to be an interesting clash between things. Oh, is there a Japanese invasion? Yes, there's actually a Japanese invasion. Maybe we'll make ourselves useful there, and help push back the Japanese naval invasion. That might actually be the better option, to be honest. So just so I don't forget, I'll quickly redeploy the troops, send them over there, and we will deal with the Japanese naval incursion. Whatever weakens the Japanese Empire is not bad. However, they also do have to contend with the Reichspakt here, and potentially with the Entente, depending on how the situation turns out. Yeah, in Italy, the situation is a complete World War I, our First Weltkrieg situation, and our construction is rushing ahead. So we're having four production lines on military factories now. So we should hopefully start filling out these production lines relatively soon, especially the fighters are important, and eventually tanks as well. Once we actually get to it, armored trains will need. What would that give me? Armored trains do need an upgrade. Production cost reduction. Is it worth it? Probably not. That's fine. 2 per month should do the trick. We have the logistics fulfillment. We have a bit more fuel capacity now as well. So preparations ongoing for an eventual conflict in 1940.